All right, y'all, mark my words. Today's episode is one that you are going to want to bookmark, come back to, and definitely take notes on. I just sat down with three absolutely incredible powerhouse women and CEOs, Renee Bowen, Vanessa Bowen, unrelated, and Dr. Linette Montae. We had a conversation all about what a CEO mindset even is and how to cultivate one, what it really means to lead yourself, to lead your vision, and to lead your goals at the highest level. We are talking beyond titles, beyond boxes, beyond hustle, and beyond old paradigms of leadership. You are going to hear insights on identity shifts, on how to make decisions, on energy management, and on the internal transformations required to truly operate from your highest self, not your past self. Whether you are an entrepreneur, a creative, a leader in your career, or a woman who is chasing her bold, audacious vision and isn't even at the CEO point yet, this conversation is going to give you the kind of wisdom, not just knowledge, wisdom, mindset shifts, and truth bombs that are going to change how you show up in your life and business. If, perchance, you find yourself nodding along, feeling inspired, or even having one of those, oh shit, that's me moments, I would be absolutely honored for you to share this episode with someone else who needs it. And if you love what you hear today, as always, it would mean so much if you left a rating or review on whatever platform you are listening, because it helps Big Goal Energy reach even more incredible women just like you. So let's jump into this powerful conversation on cultivating your CEO mindset. And please help me welcome Dr. Linette, Renee, and Vanessa. You were never meant for a small life. You have bold ideas, audacious dreams, and visions that keep you up at night. But the truth is, big goals don't come with step-by-step instructions, and success doesn't come from doing more. It comes from becoming more. Welcome to Big Goal Energy, a podcast for high-achieving women who are done shrinking, striving, and second-guessing, and are ready to defy reality in pursuit of the life they actually want. I'm your hostess, Bri Seeley, goal architect, subconscious strategist, and your permission slip to want what you want. Join me as we go beyond the surface level success to explore the mindset, identity, and inner work required to bring your biggest, most delulu goals to life. This is your space to be seen, to be expanded, and to remember that you are not alone on this journey. Let's get into it. Welcome to this month's Roundtable episode. It's been a few months since you have seen a Roundtable episode from me, and I am very excited to be kicking us back off with this one, talking about CEO mindset, the importance of CEO mindset, how we got our CEO mindsets, how it helps us and benefits us, all the things. I would love for each of my guests today to just briefly introduce herself, and then also touch on what does CEO mindset mean to you, or why is having a CEO mindset important to you in your role in your current business? So Vanessa, would you like to kick us off?
I'm Vanessa Bowen. I'm a CPA. I'm also a master neurolinguistic programming mindset coach, the founder of a beautiful company called Midworthy Co., where I empower women entrepreneurs to make more money, keep more profits, and build the wealth that they are worthy of. When you say CEO mindset, my mind's going to, because for me, it embodies a lot. First of all, it's that identity, right? You know, especially when you're coming from a 9-to-5 job and you're starting your business, it is a huge mindset shift to embody who you are as a CEO. And that can make or break your business. That can make and break your bank account. That can make and break your profit. But when I think of CEO, what that means to me is, how do I show up in my business, but also how do I show up for myself? How do I show up in my life for my daughter, for my husband? It's embodying this version of me that is not just building the business, but also, like Dr. Linette said it when we started, building that legacy of what this business is, not just for me, but the legacy that I wanted to create. And it can't create that if I'm not the CEO first in my mind to then build the business that I'm envisioning.
I mean, I already have so many little rabbit holes that I want to start going down, but we are going to hand the reins over quickly to Dr. Linette to introduce herself.
Thank you so much for having me. I am Dr. Linette Montae. I'm president of Intercultural Voices, a global media platform. We are on a mission, a big mission, so I hope that you'll join me to close the access gap and redefine success for 1 million multicultural entrepreneurs and experts. We do that by increasing their visibility and intentionally helping them to monetize their voice. And so thank you so much for allowing me to share mine today. CEO mindset. Whew, that's a big one. I'm going to sum it up to say this. CEO mindset is something that really took me 40 years to realize what it really means. We've been taught it's the hustle, it's the grind, it's all of these other things. What I know to be true now is that CEO mindset requires you to not just focus on the business. It is about scaling your mind, your body, and your business. For women specifically, which has been my target market for 40 years, I like to say we can be happy, healthy, and wealthy. Superwoman cape is no longer desired.
I'm literally taking notes, y'all, because I have so many things I want to dive into. But let's have Renee introduce herself and then we can jam.
I know, I'm excited too to dive into all of this. Hi, I'm Renee. Thanks for having me. Renee Bowen, and I run a couple of businesses. I am a pro photographer, have been for about 20 years. I am also a certified life coach. I also use NLP and hypnosis and all of those wonderful unconscious mind reprogramming tools with my coaching clients. So I do one-on-one in groups, and I help them sort of break free from limiting beliefs, reframe things, step into the life that they want, and actually carve out their own path. For me, SEO mindset has meant a lot of different things over the years, especially when my kids were little. It meant something different. That's when I was building my business from literally nothing with no money and anything. And now it means something different. Now, when I have grown kids and I'm still married after 25 years and I've run a couple of businesses and I love what I do, for me, it means regulation. It means that I am taking care of my nervous system, number one, because if I'm not doing that, I'm not good for anybody. I learned that the hard way. And so, yes, anti-hustle culture, stepping into the flow of the stream and really standing in that confidence of being the CEO and being the head of your business, but also easing into it and relaxing into it and letting it be easy because it can be.
Y'all are speaking my language. I actually have a mini course called Fuck the Hustle because I was just so over the just work harder. I'm like, no. For those of you that do not yet know me, I'm Bri Seeley. I brainwash individuals for their success. I am also about the unconscious and building new identities. There's a quote from Atomic Habits that I changed a little bit that's, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our identity. And that's so much of the work that I do with people in the world. And identity is something that Vanessa touched on, and it triggered something within me. And then Dr. Linette has been in this for 40 years. And Renee just said something too about the evolution of the CEO mindset. A lot of us were around back in the days of like the boss babe and like the girl boss era. And I want to touch on, because I think it's really important that so many women got into business around this cutesy, if I have the right stationery and the right office decor and the like white Instagram feed, like I'll be a boss babe. I have seen that shift in the 18 years I've been an entrepreneur to now we're like, no, we are CEOs. I thought it was really interesting that this shift in identity for women in business has happened.
I definitely have a thought on that. Because my area of expertise is operations, I've never had the luxury of being a girl. I was always a girl. I was a girly girl when I was a kid, but I had to step into a masculine persona in order to survive in that space. Especially if you think about it, I started 40 years ago when women weren't supposed to be seen, heard, or anything else, right? And so here I come as a female with chocolate skin into a white male-dominated industry of operations. And I knew I was smarter than everyone in the room. I knew it, absolutely, hands down. I knew it, but they would still look at me and expect me to go get the coffee. When we switched into this boss babe thing, I actually couldn't understand it. I was trying to figure out, I never saw so much pink in my life. And I'm like, I don't wear pink. I don't even own pink. But then I realized I never had the space to do that, even if I wanted to do that. I do now, and I still don't have anything pink. But it was just very eye-opening to me that women believed that being a CEO or being an entrepreneur as a female involved pink, and it involved a certain aesthetic. You can be feminine and still bring power, energy. And I think that's where we've lost our way. We think that feminine energy is also submissive energy. You can be submissive and still be in your power. And I just found that whole era interesting, and I'm so glad it's gone.
I mean, same. I do think to an extent that it was maybe a little needed at the time, but it felt to me almost very superficial, like you were saying, Dr. Linette, the pink or Instagram feed or the office decor, those things. Whereas to me now, what the CEO thing, it's so deeply embedded in my soul, right? It's not this wash of pink on my life. It's who the fuck I am every day. It just feels so deep in my body and my soul.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the same for me happened because I have always been a very dominant personality, just in general. Even as a kid, I was always a nonconformist. Grew up in the very deep South, which was very oppressive, and flew away to California as soon as I could. I needed to find myself. As a kid, I was always that person who was pushing buttons and trying to be different than other people. I never felt that whole boss babe movement. I do feel like there was a necessity for it, and also was a sign of the times as well, just like everything, right? Everything sort of ebbs and flows. And we probably did need to step a little further into our masculine to get back to the middle. So I felt like it was needed for a women to find their power, but now I'm glad. I think that the evolution of this anti-hustle culture, this anti-push, push, 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 because what you resist persists, right? So we know that and for me, it's all about the energy that I'm bringing. Like, what kind of energy am I bringing to the table? Do I want to bring like, in your face, forceful, like I need this and I'm pushing my way through? No, like I've never really felt like I had to do that. I feel more magnetic when I'm in my flow. And yes, like Dr. Linette said, that you are still empowered in that place. It's just we have been programmed to believe that we're not. And so I'm glad that that programming is being questioned right now. And that's the biggest thing that a lot of women are waking up to. A lot of women, especially in my age group, I'm in my 50s, right? Like people are like, what am I doing? Like, what is my identity? I think it's a great conversation, and I'm glad we're having it for sure.
It's funny. I started my business around 2016, 2017. And what was coming to me is when I even think of like the clients who I'm working with now who started their business after this trend, the trend may be not there from like a total social media perspective, but I think it's still there from a mindset perspective. When I think of some of the clients that I work with who haven't been in business for that long, they think it's about that fluffy stuff of like, oh, okay, I have the business. That means I'm a CEO. And I think that's what that era kind of created, that like you just have to have the stationery or have the pink, and that means you're a CEO. What it has created is this disconnect of what it really means to be a CEO. And we talk about CEO mindset. And I think of some of the clients that I work with, like they actually have a hard time seeing themselves as a CEO. And I think a lot of that girl boss culture is a part, I'll say, to blame. It's because they were like, okay, if you started the business and you gave it a sexy name, you're a CEO. No, that did not make you a CEO. And so, yes, it's not socialized as much, but I do feel like it's still impacting the subconscious mindsets of a lot of women who have more recently started their business when that trend was starting, where they're having a hard time actually understanding what it means to be a CEO and embody a CEO. I spoke to someone today and they're like, oh, I don't even have like a plan for the year. I'm like, well, what are you doing in your business? And I was listening and taking this in. And I'm like, I think it's still here, just kind of like invisibly and subconsciously still impacting some women inside of their businesses where they're not actually embodying the mindset, because to them, what it meant to be a CEO was you just got to look cute and be pretty, but they never actually learned what it really means to be a CEO, or they're still trying to learn that.
This is amazing. I want to run with this. So where is the disconnect then? How do we get more women over that tipping point? Because I'll also say I have found my audience doesn't resonate as much with the term CEO. How do we get more women to identify with the actual, this is what it takes to build and have a business versus the external?
What I was thinking about is my personal mission. We all have business missions, and then we all have personal missions. Like, why are we here? What is our purpose? And my personal mission is to encourage women specifically to shed the shoulds. What I've noticed over the years, over the decades, is that we are so used to being told what to do, what to wear, what to say, how to sit, don't do that, don't eat this, you should look like this. We have all these rules. And from the time that we left home, at home, yes, but that's sort of expected when you're still at home. But once you leave home, we still have all these expectations that are put on us and all of these hoops that we're expected to jump through. And one of the things that comes to mind for me so strongly is that the minute that we become a mother, we've lost our identity. Now we're the mother of, right? It's not, even our parents don't call and say, "How are you, dear?" The first thing our parents want to know is, how is the grandchild? When you get a job, you're now an employee. When you get a husband, you're now a wife. And every title and every activity that we add into our life, we are taking on another role, and we are continuing to be dimmed, if you will, as to who are we? Who do we be? And I think that's where it gets lost. So when you become an entrepreneur, now you're looking around trying to figure out, okay, well, now who am I? Because you're not you anymore. You spent all these years being all the roles that have been placed upon you, and now you are an entrepreneur. So what does that look like? You look at the people who you perceive as successful, and so then you start to try to take on that persona, and you're like, that doesn't feel good. Let me look at this person, see what they're doing, see how they're acting, see how they're dressing, and then you take on that persona and you're like, that doesn't fit. And so my mission personally is for us to shed societal shoulds and stand in who we be, because we're all here for a purpose. And it's a purpose that only each one of us can really deliver. So when I think about how did it go left, that's to me where it went left. And it's just a cycle. We talked about the way that it used to be and the way that it is now. It really is a 10-year cycle. And so the girl boss thing that we're seeing leave, just give it a little while. Just like the bell bottoms that I thought would never come back when I was a kid, it came back 3 or 4 times. So I'm curious to see, what is the quote unquote girl boss babe thing going to look like in its next iteration? Because it is going to return. It's just not necessarily going to be called the same thing. And hopefully when it returns, we as women will feel our power and will be ready to step into that power instead of passing it off to a title that someone has given us. I'll pass the mic.
And I think it's that power piece that you talked about at the end that I feel like, with women hesitating or not wanting to step into the CEO mindset, to me, a CEO mindset is a mindset of power. It is a mindset of strength. It's a mindset of leadership, right? And so where's that gap still existing, like Vanessa was talking about, around women, regardless of whatever they call themselves or what role they're in? Where are they not wanting to embrace or own this power that's within them to create their reality? Renee?
I feel like this has a lot to do with people pleasing, which is completely embedded into most women. I don't know about you guys, but I see this show up in my coaching all the time. Women come to me and they don't think that that's what it is, but at the heart of it, there's a lot of people pleasing tendencies. And I feel like that is what maybe initially drew them to this girl boss, or like, they have a business or they want to run a business. You just happen to be good at something. And then somebody tells you, oh my God, you should make money at that. And then you're like, okay. And you have no idea what you're doing, right? I see often how it is really hard for creative women, let's just say, especially who are in the creative field, who want that. They want to be the CEO. They want to be the boss. They want that empowerment. There's that aura of, yes, I would like that identity. So seeking this identity in this business. And because they don't have an understanding of what that's really going to take, and I'm going to need to know my numbers, and I probably need to project and see if I can be profitable and how to do all these things, that feels really chaotic and hard. So grasping on to this trend, to these, social trends, to this vibe that they feel like, oh, I can be a part of this. So I feel like there is a little bit of that probably is a part of the reason why there may be an attraction to that even still, because we've also been programmed that, and I think all of this is the patriarchy, by the way. It really is. It's like it was started because like women were trying to keep up, right? So I understand why, but at the same time, owning, like knowing yourself and being the most you that you can possibly be is literally your superpower. That's what I want women to get to. You already have it. You already have it. Let's just find out where it is. Let's find out where that people pleasing is coming from, because it's literally just programming, and it's literally just something that you've continuing to believe, and you have a choice to change that. Like anytime you want to change that.
I'll just piggyback and say I totally agree. And especially when you're talking about the part of like, I need to know my numbers and I need to know is this thing profitable, but it's easier to grab onto the easy thing stuff. I think also for women, when it's like, oh, I actually have to know how to do this thing, then they're on the hook for something. And I agree. I think it's a people pleasing, but it's also, oh my gosh, if I fail at this thing, that's self-judgment, or what is everyone going to think about me? Or, oh my gosh, like if I do go in, if I call myself a CEO and this thing doesn't work, how am I going to be perceived? What is my family going to think? What if everyone on Instagram going to think? I think it's also that if I don't own CEO, then I don't have to say that I failed at it. Like I could just like slip under the radar and I could just be me. But if I say I'm a CEO and this thing doesn't work, it's also, I think, a lot of that as well, that inner, I don't even know what to really call it, but I think we live in this world of like, don't let me actually be seen and don't let me actually fail and be seen, because then my whole world's going to fall apart, instead of being like, okay, cool, I failed. This is just a part of the journey. I think we tag so much of the result of our business to our identity. And that's a bit of why some women resist on like actually owning being a CEO. Because if it doesn't work, they don't want to live on the other side of that.
So interesting. I'm actually getting ready to record a roundtable like this about the fear of failure and fear of success. If anyone is not yet subscribed, now would be a great time to subscribe to Big Goal Energy. I want to ask one more question, and then I'd love to then dive into each of your personal experiences a little bit more. If you were to have someone come to you who just wanted a little bit of mentorship, a little bit of insight, a little bit of advice, who maybe has not yet fully stepped into their CEO mindset, is there anything that you would say to them or encourage them or guide them with to do kind of what we've just been talking about?
I always start with, no matter who it is, no matter where they are in their business, I'm really a big believer in like getting really deeply connected to your purpose, and like your purpose, not in your business, just your purpose, your legacy. Who do you want to be? What is the energy you're bringing to the table? Most of us have worn a lot of different identities, like we've been talking about. So that is usually a really sort of like weird onion to peel with people, because they start off pretty superficial. And I'm like, no, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. It's like a deeper process. It has a lot to do with how Simon Sinek has talked about finding your why, but it's even a little bit more nuanced than that, bringing in the unconscious, because I really believe that everything that we do, whether it's business or personal, comes from that. How good you feel, how well you know yourself, and who do you want to be actually, and clarity on that, so that you can paint the picture for yourself, put it in your roadmap so you know where you're going, and also feel deeply, deeply connected to it so that when you are marketing, you can talk about it effortlessly. When you are outside in the world, you feel connected to a greater sense of meaning. So I feel like that would be my suggestion. And that's usually where I start with people. It's really, really powerful. And it's one of my favorite things to do with people.
I really love that, Renee. I'll just add to that. Like one of the things you kind of said it, I think earlier, Bri, about identity, that whole saying you can never outperform your identity. So one of the things I like to get my clients to do is like a wants and expectations exercise. And they really write down like, what do I want? Oh, I want this business. I want my bank account to look like this. I want this lifestyle, but what are you expecting? And you're going to find there's this huge disconnect between what you want and what you expect. And that is where I also like to start is, okay, let's figure out where we're disconnected here. Because if you're saying you want to be a CEO, but you're expecting that the business is going to fail, you're expecting that you're not going to get clients, you're expecting that no one's going to pay your prices, then we can't get you to CEO until you actually start working through the expectations. And then under those expectations is all the money blocks, is all the money stories, is all of the subconscious beliefs that they have. And then we kind of go deeper there, starting with that baseline of like, what do I really want? What am I actually expecting in my life right now? It's going to just help to identify and illuminate the gap between who that person is and them saying they want to be the CEO.
Wow. I love all of that and absolutely agree. I would just add, I tend to be the person that likes to get straight to the nitty gritty. I'm not really good with the fluff. And one of the questions that I ask is, what were your dreams before anyone had an opinion? Because for me, it puts the cherry on top of what you all have said. It really, because what's going on is it's underneath. It's trauma, it's fears, it's gremlin speaking, it's all the things. It depends on what is your educational background and where you're coming from, what you call that thing, but it's in the way and it's not true. I really just asked the hard question. What was the dream? We all seem to be living and building someone else's dream, not necessarily the big, boldacious dream that we always had. And so I am always asking, what is the big, boldacious dream that you probably haven't told anyone, that you are thinking about, that you're whispering to yourself about? What's that? Let's work on that. Let's focus on that. Let's build that.
What I would add is I tend to be a permission giver. And my invitation for anyone listening to this who wants to step into the CEO mindset but hasn't yet, I want to say, give yourself permission to do it. Very similarly to what all three of these women have just talked about, like shedding all of the nonsense that you don't need, shedding all the other voices, getting in touch with who you are, and just claim it for yourself. Because the longer you resist it, it's like magnets that they're pushing against each other. If you just flip those magnets around, they come right together. So own it. Give yourself permission to say, fuck, this is what I want. And not from a place of need or lack or scarcity, but from a place of, I just really want this. I want this identity. I want this experience. I want it. And you know what? I'm going to own it. I'm going to put it on today like an outfit I would put on, and I'm just going to own it. And I'm going to put it on again tomorrow and put it on again the next day and have this experiment of being a CEO and see how it turns out. If you're listening to this and thinking, I wish I had more people in my life who just get it, you're not alone. Big goal energy women are rare. We're the ones dreaming big, defying norms, and refusing to settle. And that is exactly why I created the Big Goal Energy app. But it's more than just an app. It's a community, a safe, supportive space where ambitious women like you and me can gather, grow, and go after our biggest goals without judgment. Inside, you'll find real-time conversations, powerful tools and resources, and exclusive content you won't get anywhere else. And yes, direct access to me to support you on your journey. Whether you're building, dreaming, shifting, or scaling, you don't have to do it alone. Come join us inside the Big Goal Energy app and surround yourself with women who dream as delulu as you do. Download the app now or visit briseeley.com/community to learn more. I want to dive into some of the practices that you use in your businesses, in your lives to help you either maintain your CEO mindset or uphold it. Are there any daily practices or things that you do that help you own being that CEO on a daily basis?
Yes, yes. I do a few things, but I'll share two. One that I've always been doing and one that I actually picked up recently. One of the things I've always been doing, and I teach this to my clients, is create a money manifesto. And this can sometimes evolve throughout the year, but at the beginning of the year, I like to always create it. And it typically focuses on like the next 12 months and what do I want to create in the business, even just from like the team, from operations, from revenue. But then it goes into like lifestyle, like what is the business actually funding? Because my business must fund this lifestyle. So I usually craft out that manifesto. It's usually for 12 months, but if there's something else that I'm really wanting to create or call in over those 12 months, I'll have that in there. But then I write this manifesto out and I actually record it on my phone, but I record it using the background or instrumental to whatever my money song is. And that, of course, can change every year. But whatever that money song is, I record the instrumental behind it and I listen to it every morning and listen to it every night. And it's especially in the morning, like I will listen to it like right when I open up my laptop. It really gets me into that CEO identity and into that CEO mode. I'm like, okay, like this is who I am. This is how I said I'm going to show up in my business. This is how I said I'm going to run my day. It just really shifts my identity. It takes out anything that happened the night before, the day before, and really gets me centered. And then I listen to it at the end of the day as well, like right before I'm going to bed, just to, again, to like reprogram my subconscious, remind myself of who I am, because not just with what happens in business, but things that happen in life, with family, with our economy, like everything, it's so easy to get distracted or shifted in different directions that you forget who you are. And even as Dr. Linette says, like we are different roles, even in our day to day. And so my manifesto just brings me back to my CEO self and my CEO identity. So that's something I do every day. Another practice that I picked up is actually from the book, TEDx is Easier Than 2X. I don't know if you all have read that book. So good. Yes, that's
I
great.
co-sign on this book. I have read it 2 years in a row. Highly recommend. 10X is Easier Than 2X. If y'all haven't read it, I'm pretty sure people have heard me talk about it on here before.
Yes.
Highly
The
recommend.
the best. So I initially heard it there, and then I also read their other book, The Gap and the Gain, and they go a little deeper into it there. But what the practice is at the end of the day, you write down your 3 wins for the day, but then you also write down the 3 wins you want for tomorrow. And that part is like the huge mindset shift, because you're almost like projecting and manifesting what is going to happen the next day, but also just writing down the 3 wins. What it does for me is it reminds me of what I've done, who I am. Like, even if like, the day didn't go as planned, or the launch didn't go as planned, or like this didn't go as planned in the business, it grounds me in, oh, no, but we did have a win, or we did have 3 wins. And also, here are the wins that are going to happen tomorrow. And that has been such a game changer in just like my mindset and just like how I've seen myself as a CEO. And I've only been doing that, I think, probably like the last month, but highly recommend that one.
I love those because like I do versions of those as well, but I like that second piece of it too. I kind of do a little bit of that. For me, it's all about regulation. It's no excuses for me anymore. I'm going to be regulated. The world can be burning, and it will, but I will not be burning along with it. I do a couple different things. I have a mantra that I've recorded. I like to keep it short. I use hypnosis techniques because I do a lot of my own self-hypnosis, and I do custom tracks for clients. And I love hypnosis because it's different than meditation. I can just move aside and I can let myself off the hook. I don't have to be paying attention, and I know it's working on my unconscious mind. I also lay them over binaural beats. So as I'm coming out of Delta into Theta state in the morning, I'm just hopping on that bandwagon, continuing on the Theta, feel good, listening to something as I'm getting up, getting dressed, kind of doing my thing. I'm not going to create. I'm not going to look at emails. And I'm going to glance at my phone because I do have adult kids and one is in college. I'm going to make sure everyone is okay and not in a hospital. And outside of that, I'm not partaking with my phone. I'm listening to the thing on my phone, but I'm not opening my emails. I am not consuming anything before I have controlled my energy for the day. That's my hard line. And it can even just be for 10 or 15 minutes, but I'm going to do it. I've also taken it a step further. I don't do this every morning, but I'll do it maybe like once a week where I've made like a movie, right? So it's not just me listening, but it's a active vision board. The thing with this is that if I watch it, and when I do watch it, I make myself feel how I'm feeling when I'm getting those things and doing those things. Like when I'm in Italy, when I'm, off doing my stuff, like I'm feeling how good it's going to feel in my body. So that's a little bit different, but kind of the same idea. And then I also 100% do the end of day thing because I also know how powerful it is to reprogram that unconscious mind. By the time I get in bed, I'm a human design generator. I have like burned out all my energy for the day. I am tired. Sleeping is my superpower. Thank God I have that ability because like I have always been able to sleep and sleep hard, but I feel like I have because I am in alignment and burning that all day. So like by the time it is time for rest, I'm ready for it. But I sometimes will still have a lot of ideas that are there and I'm like, I have to get it out. Like writing it out is a really big thing. So I've always written out what did I actually do today because it feels like I probably didn't do a lot, but I really did a lot. Writing down, just noticing what I've actually accomplished. And then also thinking that next piece about not just my to-do list for tomorrow, but expectations for tomorrow. But what I like to do is just talk to my unconscious mind, basically, and say, okay, listen, and I'll sometimes actually have an out loud conversation with her, depending on how tired or not tired I am. Telling her, I want you to work this out while I sleep. I've got this thing going on. I know you can deal with this while I sleep, and we're super efficient like that. So I trust that you are going to just like drop in what I need in the morning. Go ahead and take care of that. And so it is. And I just let it go. That's my little mindset trick. It keeps me regulated, which is important.
I needed to take notes on those ideas. I love the idea of writing things down in the morning and then doing it in the evening. I have so many things that I do, and I sort of switch because I get bored fast. There's maybe 3 that are consistent and have remained consistent over the decades. One is asking myself, what are the top 3 things I must get done that day? Because there's a million things that need to be done, especially if you have a business. Sometimes we get really caught up in doing things that don't matter, that don't move the needle. That's just busy work. So I really started asking myself, what are those top 3 things you must get done today? And I play a game with myself, which is to try to get them done by 12 o'clock noon. I do that because then I feel like I have the rest of the day to play, to fidget, to do whatever it is that I desire to do without feeling the weight of something that needs to be done. Second is I like to stay focused by having tabs. I am a multitasker. I open the tabs for what I need to get done that day, because that's what keeps me focused. I don't get sidetracked on things that pop in my email, things that pop into my life and jump on my plate, because I can look at my tabs and I know these are the 3 things. When I'm done, I close the tab. It's sort of like a checklist, but for me, it just really worked in tab form. The third thing is I challenge myself to do at least one thing each day that scares the bejeebus out of me, because that helps me to stay out of my comfort zone. It's comfortable there. It feels good there. And it also does not get us to where our true purpose is waiting, right? And so I really like to do something that scares me. Now, one thing that is not on my list, just so we're clear, is I am not getting in an ice bath, okay? I am not. Every time I see someone do that, I am like, no, I don't care what y'all say that does to my mindset. I'm not getting in the ice bath.
I just saw science, y'all. I just saw science that it doesn't work for women the same way it works for men. So
Well,
ice baths are actually, I'm the same where I'm like, I don't do cold. I am not a cold person. I grew up in Minnesota. I am good. So I've always shied away from them. And then I saw the science and I was like,
yeah.
I knew that didn't work. So for women, if you need an out, just be like, that it doesn't work for us. So we don't need to do it.
No out needed. No is a complete sentence. I am not doing it. The fourth thing, which is probably the one that is least expected, is I take a 3-hour nap every day. Every day. As a matter of fact, this is my nap time. And so I had to shift and take my nap earlier because I take a 3-hour nap every single day, not 2 hours and 30 minutes, not 2 hours and 4. If I cannot have my 3-hour nap, you are liable to get the grumpy Dr. Linette. And so I really want to share that because I want people to understand that CEOs doesn't mean work all day. It doesn't mean hustle and grind. Everyone needs to identify how do they refuel. And we mentioned a little bit about human design. You guys will understand why I take this nap because I'm a projector. I need my nap. Okay, I need my nap. I learned to lean into that. And again, that goes back to the shoulds we've been talking about. People telling me, what do you mean? Like, you're not a toddler. What do you mean you take a nap? Yes, I do. Turn my phone on, do not disturb. Everyone in my family knows this is not nap time. Don't call, don't text, don't send smoke signals, no pigeons with notes, because I am going to take my nap. I want to give everyone else permission, whatever that looks like for you, to stay in that CEO mindset, to stay in your purpose, to stay in your energy, to stay in your safe space, whatever all that is that you need to thrive, not just survive. Do that and don't worry about what everybody else is doing.
This goes back to, there's so many like YouTube videos out there about the perfect morning routine, or I love him so much, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, where it's like, you have to do these things. It has to look this way. And when people ask me, what's your morning routine like? I'm like, my morning routine, I will tell you what it is. And it works for me. So it doesn't work for everyone this way. The four of us can sit here and give you, the listener, all the tools in the world. There's two things. One, tools don't work unless you fucking do them. And if they're not aligned for you, if I were to give you a sweater that was 10 sizes too small and said, put this on, would you put it on? No, you wouldn't. You'd be like, that doesn't fit me. Thanks so much. So why are you putting on things that other people are giving you, telling you to put on when it doesn't fit you? I love that caveat, Dr. Linette. I want to add two quick things to this that help me stay in my CEO mindset. In addition to so much of what was mentioned, focus. I am an ADHD CEO, female entrepreneur, who found out about it after the age of 40. Huzzah! And I learned that if my notifications are on, or if I'm getting pop-ups from Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and email and text messages and Voxer, and my entire day is spent at the mercy of someone else's whims. And that is not how a CEO operates. I learned many, many years ago, my phone is on Do Not Disturb for the majority of the day. I get no notifications on my cell phones. I don't know if I have a new email unless I open the app. I get nothing. Focus is such a CEO mindset tool. And then the other thing I will say too is drink your water. Ladies, drink the water. I am just off 5-week cleanse, I think, and the importance of drinking. Anything else you want to share about CEO mindset that you feel like would be beneficial or impactful?
I would just say, like we were talking about before, all of this was so good too, by the way. And I love the minute you said you took a 3-hour nap, by the way, I was like, she's a projector. Side note, human design is a very powerful tool. But what I really wanted to say here is that if you feel called to do it, if you feel called to be a CEO, if you feel called to have your own business and you might be good at something, like I said before, and you want to figure out a way to make money at it, you can do this. Do not feel that it's outside of you. And if you had the idea and if you had the vision, it's already happening in another timeline. So you might as well just step into it right now. Like, you can absolutely have it. It's yours to have. And you can make the rules, you can make it up as you go, and you can let it be messy along the way. Just remember to take one little small step at a time and to take care of yourself, regulate yourself, honor yourself in the process.
I really want to encourage everyone to live the legacy you want to leave, because what you're doing now is the legacy. We keep thinking that legacy is about what we're going to leave, and that is true. However, The legacy is what your kids see you doing right now. If they see you tired, if they see you working all the time, if they see you sick, if they see you unhappy, you're planting those seeds of legacy now. And so please don't worry so much about what's going to happen after you're gone, because it's not going to look the way you desire if what you desire doesn't look that way today.
I love that. And to piggyback on that, when you said owning the legacy now, what I was going to say is own that CEO mindset now. Own that you are a CEO now. I think sometimes we tag being a CEO to something else, especially money. Oh, when my business makes a certain amount, or when I hit this milestone. But if you want to create this business, if you want to build this business, you have to own the CEO mindset now. It doesn't matter how much you make. It doesn't matter what the business looks like. It doesn't matter if it's still an idea. I think if you can literally really talk about identity, own the identity now, that will make a break, whether this becomes what this is, when you create the legacy or not. So own it now.
I'm really big into quantum theory, and there's only the now moment. So if you're waiting for your legacy at some point in the future, you're going to be waiting a very long time. It's not coming. If you're waiting to be that CEO in the future, you'll be waiting a long time. The future never exists. Now is the only time there is. Some of my favorite work to do with clients is to do future self subconscious activation, where yes, you get to go meet your future self, but then you merge with that person. And then the question becomes, as we're doing the reinforcement for 30 days, how are you being her today? How are you being the CEO today? How are you living your legacy today? Because today is it. This is all any of us have. If anyone is interested, my future self meditation, not the activation, but the meditation, is in the Big Goal Energy app. So if you haven't yet joined the app, make sure to hop on in there. You can get the future self meditation for free to help you just kind of conceptualize, who is that future me? And then how can I close the gap between my identity today and their identity? The more that you can be that identity now, first of all, the quicker your manifestations, your legacy, it's all going to unfold so much more quickly. But also the journey is going to be so much easier. Something Dr. Linette just said reminded me so much of my journey, is that my entrepreneurial journey has been pushing things off and waiting and doing things in the future when I'm there or whatever. And it's like, I was just overworking and underliving. That's it. That's the whole, and now I'm like, oh shit, how do I overlive and underwork? That's my whole vibe recently. And I will tell y'all, pretty fun. I wanted to say thank you all so much for joining me today. All three of you have been just absolutely phenomenal. This was a great conversation. I'm telling y'all, I took notes as we were talking, so I have lots of things. I'm going to go make my money manifesto, Vanessa, and listen to it every day because it's one of my favorite manifestation tricks. Let's wrap up by just each saying where the best place is that people can find you if they want to chat with you deeper or follow your journey more or learn from you.
Thanks so much for having me. This was really, really awesome and great meeting all of you. And you can find me, I'm pretty active on Instagram. I'm at Renee Bowen, pretty much everywhere, reneebowen.com, and then on TikTok, Renee_Bowen.
Thank you so much for having all of us, and it's nice to meet you too as well. Googling me is the easiest, because then you'll just find whatever good stuff you find. But on social media, I spend most of my time on LinkedIn. So you can find me there, connect with me, let me know that you've shared some time with us today on the podcast. I would love to talk with you and follow you and read your content. And thank you again for just being part of this amazing community. And make sure you get in that app now. She told you she has something in there for you. So get in there and get busy.
I hang out most of the time at Instagram, so you can find me at MittWorthyCo on Instagram. You can also check out our website for all of our courses, so mittworthyco.com. But yeah, slide into my DMs, and hopefully this conversation was enlightening for all of you. But thank you, Bri, for having us.
Thank you all so much. Last but not least, as I mentioned, so the app, if you'd like to get it, you can either just go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Store and search Big Goal Energy. It's the only one that pops up, which, yay for clever names. Or you can visit briseeley.com/community and get access to it. Thank you so much. This was so lovely, and I just really appreciate all three of your perspectives. If this episode lit something up in you, share it. Text it to a friend, post it to your stories, or leave a review, because big goal energy is meant to be felt far and wide. And if you're ready to go deeper, explore the tools, hypnosis sessions, and support because your vision deserves more than hustle, join us on the Big Goal Energy app by visiting your app store and typing in Big Goal Energy. Your vision, your goals deserve alignment, ease, and your fullest self behind them. Until next time, trust yourself, dream bigger, and never forget, you are here for greatness.